In today's Leeds news, promotion a must with parachute payment detail, another youth out on loan, Southampton Bamford interest, and Ipswich think Phillips wants Leeds return. Morning folks, Jerry here to view Friday morning 25th of October with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good morning. Daniel Farke's press conference is very much underway right now. We won't be covering it today in this. It will be part of tomorrow morning's video which will go out called the warm-up, which will give you all the statistics and data you need to watch out for heading into the game. That will be out at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It should be less than 10 minutes in total, but just your little pack for the day to get ready for the game. Also, just to point out the Leeds Legends game as well, the detail is down below. There is a meet and greet as well as the game itself taking place at the Carlisle grounds on the 10th of May, but you can check those details out down below if you want to get tickets for that. We'll start off with the promotion situation and the parachute payments information that came out yesterday afternoon. Yesterday we covered the Football Governance Bill, plans to remove parachute payments from English football. And I should also point out the wording on the graphic that was sitting up here yesterday came directly from their website, so they spelled it wrong, not me. I got it right in the heading. It's usually my spelling, but in this one's instance, it wasn't this time. It has been revealed today that Leeds United will be in line for £40.1 million in the second year of their parachute payments since relegation from the Premier League. The Labour Party are keen to increase the power of the football regulator, and the EFL are very keen to remove the parachute payments completely from English football, meaning this year for Leeds, promotion is now even more important, with Leeds potentially having a third year next season on parachute payments. Failure to get promoted this season will see that amount drop, as I've just said, but if the UK government and EFL get their way, there'll be nothing there at all next season, which will be a major adjustment on top of what could end up being a major adjustment anyway. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire, though, doesn't believe that Leeds will be phased by the changes just now, but does believe that the removal of the parachute payments in isolation would be a hugely negative step for football. On the topic, Maguire said the following: "There is a possibility that the remit of the independent regulator could be expanded to look at issues in terms of parachute payments. My main concern is that if the regulator looks at parachute payments in isolation or broader distribution issues, it would be a huge negative step. This could only be justified if you adjust parachute payments in tandem with a refinancing of the wider distribution. I suspect Leeds United, given that they are in the second year of their parachute payments, could get 40 million this year, and probably ambivalent because their focus will be on getting back to the Premier League. Once clubs get to the Premier League, then their view of the regulator changes, and this is viewed as an interference and a hindrance to what they want to do. At that point, it's a very clear change. Angus Kinnear has already given all Leeds fans the vibe that he's not in favour of this at all, and he does consider the regulator to be an interference. Depending on what it does in its remit, it could very, very much be, but Leeds might be ambivalent to it with the goal of Premier League football. But if Leeds don't get Premier League football, then they'll be very, very quickly interested in this topic, and it will be something that Leeds will need to consider in getting out. This year just needs to be get out of this division. Get out of the EFL and stay out of the EFL as long as we can. That has to be at the forefront of everyone's minds this year. And then moving on to a youth exit. We've already seen Keane Coleman and Luca Thomas head out on short-term loans in the last couple of weeks. But then we've seen another one head out yesterday of the young guns in Leeds' disposal. And yesterday Leeds confirmed that Joe Richards will head to South Shields in the National League North on a short-term deal. The fullback has made 5 appearances for Scott Gardner's under-21 side this season and did score also in their last outing against Stockport County. And this is another important step in another youth player's development at Leeds. They're all short-term deals. They'll all be back pretty soon, but it puts them in the window for potential moves in January to maybe more professional clubs in League 2, League 1. That's what you'd hope, is just to keep increasing the levels that they're at. Luca Thomas already got a goal for York on his debut there as well, so we'll keep an eye on them. Once the double week fixtures settle down, we get back to a regular, we'll do some loan watch stuff. We might even do it during the international break and look back on all the players that are out on loan, how they're getting on right now. Moving on to a transfer rumour, and very, very much in the rumour mill pinch of salt territory here on this one, but according to reports in local media from Saints Marching and also from Cod Offside, there's 2 varying stories on the same topic around Patrick Bamford. According to the reports, they claim that Patrick Bamford is being considered as a potential striking option for Southampton in January. There have been rumours that Bamford is keen to move away from Leeds United come the end of the season, but now according to these reports, Russell Martin's struggles in front of goal might point him in the direction of Leeds United's backup right now, Patrick Bamford. Cameron Archer, Ben Burton, Diaz, Alan Armstrong, as well as others, for me, means a move for Patrick Bamford is very, very unlikely. They've got enough firepower in that division of a similar enough level. And from what they'd have to pay for him and what they'd probably likely get from him in that length of time, for me, I think it would be a very tough deal to do. However, the caught off side, they have another piece on this as well, and they claim that Southampton are looking at a 6-month loan option for Patrick Bamford, and maybe it's a loan for permanent. But again, their aggregate sites right now, they're not the most credible caught off side, get the odd thing right every now and then, but it's usually somebody else's information when they put that out. So, but right now it's out there. We've had a lot of noise and talk about Patrick Bamford now. Apparently Southampton might be interested in a loan or a move for the player in January. For me personally, I don't see it. I don't think it's likely at all. And then moving into the final story of the day, and the biggest story of the day, and this one relates to Calvin Phillips at Ipswich and a potential link back to Leeds United. According to reports in the local media today, there is a claim that Ipswich Town are growing frustrated with Calvin Phillips and believe that the player is angling for a move back to Yorkshire. Phillips is on £150,000 a week and has failed to impress at Manchester City, also at West Ham, and is now having struggles at Ipswich Town. Phillips has started 5 of the opening 8 games for Ipswich this season and has only managed 90 minutes on a couple of occasions. He hasn't shown the defensive capabilities we saw of him at Leeds United, and some of the goals that Ipswich have conceded this year have been pointed back directly at Calvin Phillips' effort to prevent the goals. The report states that Ipswich are not happy with Calvin's physical conditioning, which we've known before. Pep Guardiola has commented on, and Calvin has talked about extensively in podcasts that he's done, and not being happy with hearing that comment being made. Now the report claims that senior figures at Portman Road think that Phillips' head is still in Leeds. He wants to return to Yorkshire. Phillips was always labelled as a bit of a home bird, and a move away was always going to be difficult for the player, especially after losing his gran just before he moved away, and she was a hugely important figure in his life. So settling down other places was always going to be difficult. But this report even goes as far to suggest that Ipswich could terminate Calvin's loan in January, and a loan move away to Leeds could be what could happen. It's been added in this report that the figures say that they've been amazed at Phillips' lack of mobility and running power since joining Ipswich, and that is considered nowhere near the top level of a Premier League football, at least as things stand right now. Phillips' salary means the loan move to Leeds is exceptionally unlikely on £150,000 a week, and Leeds under very tight restrictions on PSR right now in the Championship. It's really, really unlikely. Also, given to that, his lack of form at Man City, his lack of form at West Ham, and lack of form now, it would be tough to consider Leeds bringing a player in that possibly won't get into the Leeds side. And you've got good defensive options when they come back of Gruev and Ampadu after Christmas. You just brought in a central defensive midfield, and the two lads in midfield right now are doing fine. I can't see Calvin Phillips getting in ahead of someone like El Tanaka right now, the form that he is in. But Calvin Phillips to Leeds will always be a very easy and potentially even a lazy link because of the links back to the club. But with finance issues, with his personal form, with fitness concerns, it's incredibly unlikely that Leeds would even consider a move for the player, and nostalgia isn't enough for Leeds at this point in their journey to consider a move for a player and bringing him back to the club, especially given the amount of money it would cost. If he terminates his deal at Manchester City and walks away from the money, free agent, then maybe who knows what would happen. But the way things are right now, it's very unlikely that will happen, and Calvin will maybe find his form. He's struggled since moving outside of the Marcelo Bielsa system. Now, Gareth Southgate got the best out of him as well with the style of football that he played. But outside of Southgate and Bielsa, no one's really managed to get the player that Calvin was. And I think they don't even really look at where he played. When he played in the single 6 pivot role for Leeds as a quarterback, he was exceptional. But he's always played in the double since then, and it doesn't really suit his game. And before Bielsa came in, Calvin was struggling at Leeds as well. So it's very much there's a position there that he does very, very well. If you play him in that position, you're fine. If you don't, there's likely to be mistakes happen. Man City did actually play him back at centre-back, which Bielsa did in pre-season, and was doing pretty well for them in that position. And maybe that's somewhere he'd end up going in his career. But right now, he's having a tough time at Ipswich, had a tough time at West Ham. He just needs more and more time, doesn't he? But a move back to Leeds for me, incredibly unlikely. Folks, that'll be it for me today. Keep an eye out, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The warm-up will go out, and that will cover, as I said, all the kind of form guide, team news, statistics, head-to-head records, all that kind of stuff will be in that short video tomorrow morning to get you your little game pack ready for your game. And then I'll be back on possibly Sunday for a match review of the game on Saturday. Could be even Monday. We'll have the panel on Monday night as well, and then back to normal next week for the news. So have a good rest of your week. Enjoy yourselves. Fingers crossed for 3 points tomorrow. I'll see you kind of in the morning with the video for the warm-up. So talk to you then. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.